Hey guys, Tony Lambrea here from UTM Ultimate Training Munitions. And I want to talk to you a little bit about today is our Portable Training Facility, or our PTF. Now the PTF, when you order one, depending on the size of the Portable Training Facility that you order, you will receive a certain amount of duffel bags shipped to you. And this is actually one of our 24 by 24s, and there are 5 duffel bags right now that you get. It could be 4 or 5, just depends on how it's packed. But you're looking at 4 to 5 duffel bags and with all your components in it. So let's talk a little bit about the components that are going to come in your portable training facility kit or bags. You're going to get a bag that is going to have what we would call our 5-ways. The 5-ways are the connectors that are going to be on the top of your roof panels, which is where you're going to hang your tarps from. There's a lot of usage, and I'll get into that when I actually start to explain this a little bit further, because you can use it also as a base when you're doing independent target hanging and stuff, so it could be this way. But for the most part, you're going to put your 8x8s up, and this is going to be your top piece. So these are your 5-way pole, 5-way connectors. In addition to that, you're going to have a 4-foot pole, and you're going to get 2-foot poles, right? So the 4-foot poles, obviously for your connectors, depending on the size of what you're trying to build, half walls, target holders, whatever it is, that's what you're going to use. But everything is made out of 4-foot and 2-foot poles. In addition to that, you're going to have your couplings or your connectors, and they're basically threaded with cuts so that you just need a couple of twists. Very important factor here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it when we do the assembly, but when you're doing this, don't over-tighten. I can't emphasize this enough. Do not over-tighten the coupling, just till you feel it catch and it's snug. That's it. If you crank it down, it's going to be difficult to take off later on, right? You can do it, but it'll come in. When you're putting the poles together, it's only going to go in halfway, and then you're going to snug it down. Then you can put another pole on it, and it's going to make the length of where you need to go, right? So once again, you're going to have 4-foot, and you're going to have 2-foot poles, and you're going to have connectors to make your length as long or as short as you want it to be. In addition to that, in your bag, you're going to have 90 degrees. Now, on the 90s, you're going to see that you have a pass-through, and then you have a block from here. If you're making a wall, then you want obviously your block side to hold your and support your weight, and your pass-through can actually fit over, and this is your connector for here, so you can put a pole down to create 2-foot walls, 4-foot walls, or whatever it is. So your 90s are just another option for putting it together, and we'll cover that when we get into the actual assembly from here. So you have your 5-ways, you have your 4-foot, 2-foot poles, you have your 90-degree angles, connectors. You're also going to have several of your hinge packages. You'll have a male and a female hinge package. On the hinge package, these things are pass-throughs, so they just slide over the pole, snug down, and then it creates your hinges for your doors, swinging gates, or anything else that you want. Right? So those are the hinges, and again, you have the male hinge, you have the female hinge. A couple of other components that you'll see in your bag. There's a black bag that you'll see inside, and you'll have your bungees. Your bungees are how you secure your tarps to the top poles. It's just going to go through the loop and then hook on the bungees, and I'll show you that again. And then you also have your rubber, if you're depending on where you're putting your poles, so the bottom part of the pole here is going to sit. So you just take your rubber feet and put them on from there, right? So those are really what you're going to see in the way of hardware inside your portable training facility package. So one of the bags is going to come with poles, another bag is going to come with the 5-ways and the connectors, and then you're going to go ahead and take them out, lay them out. You can put your rubber feet on several of these, because once again, what's going to happen is you're going to have your rubber foot, a connector, another 4-footer, and then just picture at the top is going to be your roof package from here, and then you can start making your connections. So these are the components that are in your bag, and when we get a little further into the video, we'll talk a little bit about how to actually put them together and how it works. Step 1, pole assembly. Alright guys, so now step 1 of putting together your portable training facility is we're going to get the 4-foot poles out and your couplings or your connectors. And Alex and I are going to go ahead and we're just going to put our 8-foot lengths together. So when you get your bags, what you need to do is, you've got your pole bag, you've got your connector bag, just start pulling out the 4-foot poles and putting them together. So Alex, let's go ahead and put a couple together. So as you see, all he's going to do is, you're going to go in about halfway down of the connector. Halfway, and then all you're going to do is just snug it up until you feel it just tighten up. Don't over tighten it. So halfway down and in from here. If you have to adjust it, you can always just move it. Second thing you need, obviously, is get your other length, insert it in, and once again, just snug them up. So as you see, what Alex and I would do is, we would actually put together these 8-foot lengths. We would lay them out on the floor, put as many together as you think that you're going to put up walls and stuff. So just assemble as many as you have, right? So then you're going to lay those out. So that would be your step 1 to putting together your portable training facility. Step 2, 8-foot pole and 5-way assembly. All right, guys, so step 2, now you've already put together your 8-foot poles. So the next thing that we would do is, we would actually start to assemble the 8-foot poles into our 5-way connectors. So you see behind us, we've done a couple already. Alex and I are going to just put these other ones together. There's 2 ways of doing it. Alex will put his together standing up. Go ahead, Alex. And then the other way to do it is to just use it on the ground, and then just put your foot on it, tighten it up. Again, don't over tighten the couplings, just to the point where the pole doesn't move. And now you're good to go, and you assemble. So what I would do is, I would actually assemble 10 or 12 of these to start to lay out your room configuration, or any of your training venues. Because remember, this doesn't have to be just a shoot house. It could actually be a very, very long hallway. But it doesn't really matter, because in the next segment, we're going to show you where the next piece is, how you lay it out, because that would be step 3. All right? So step 2, put your 8-foot lengths into your 5-way crosses. Step 3, layout and planning. All right, guys, step 3. So what you're going to do now, you've put together your 8-foot poles into your 5-ways. And you're going to have somewhat of what you want to do today for your training iteration. So what you want to do, make a room, you want hallways, you want a wide spread, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. So the way you do that is you've got your 5-ways with your 8-foot poles, the easiest thing. Now remember, these are going to turn over and become your ceiling poles, right? That's going to be your connectors to the top. But right now we're just laying it out. So here's the way I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it to where I want the wall to go. So I'm going to say, okay, lay it out here. That's one side. Now I go about 8 feet, because I know my pole is going to be about 8 feet, but I can go 12 if I want. Just use the different connectors. So I lay it out about 8 foot apart. Then I look and say, all right, let's just say I'm making an 8-foot room, or a 10-foot room, or whatever I want. And I lay it out here. So here's my box with my 8-foot room, right? So now I'm starting to get a visual on where my room is going to be set up. I can also say that, okay, I want to put a hallway or a turn here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this was the 8-foot room, I need a 4-foot turn or an opening that's going to come down and a long hallway. So now that's where I got a 4-footer. So there's going to be a solid wall there and an opening on both sides. This could be a solid panel. So I start to visualize exactly what my room configuration is going to look like when I put these out in this configuration here. Right? So I start with this, laying out my room. No matter what it is that you want to lay out. You can have a big open space and just put 4 corners and then have it as a built range, or you can actually lay these out and then have hallways and doorways and individual stations. It's up to you, but this would be the next step in what you were putting together. Step 4, framing the rooms. All right, guys, so step 4 is basically you've laid out your ceiling 5-ways with an 8-foot pole in it. You're kind of getting an idea of what your configuration looks like, but don't get too hung up on it, because the other thing that you can do is you can start building an 8-foot room with maybe a hallway, and then just continue to build on that. And then don't forget, this changes around in 30 seconds, so you can always reconfigure it anytime during your training iteration. So let's just really quickly see how we lay it out. Now you remember in the last step, what I did was I laid the poles out to figure out, like in other words, this would be a hallway that I was coming down, because it's a 4-foot hallway. This is an 8-foot room here. So I have the 8-foot configuration, so I could actually put my panel, my wall with a doorway here. So this would be a hallway with an entrance into a room. So I can kind of start to visualize that, right? All right, So once I start to visualize that, now, what I'm going to do is, you notice that was my hallway I said. Now remember what I said, this is completely upside down. That is your ceiling. But here's your 4 footers that are going to go in order to give you your spacing, to give you an idea of what your hallway is going to look like. So that's your hallway length, or not length, but width from there. And this is your hallway width with a 4-foot pole. You know that that's going to go in here. Then what I would do is take an 8-footer to start to create my walls. Remember, this is going to be your roof. This is where my pole is going to go. It's going to get inserted, but I'm trying to lay it out and actually visualize what I have here. All right? So now I take this. So this 8-foot by 4-foot length right here is my hallway. When this flips upside down and I put this together, that's going to be creating your hallway. This is my 8-foot room. So all I have to do now is start taking my 8-foot lengths, laying them out at the distance I need them, and then I would start putting them all around. All right. So as I start to put the poles out, you're going to start to see how it kind of takes shape. But you have to remember continuously that this is all going to flip upside down. Now the great way to do this is you just started to lay it out, but after that I would start to assemble at least this part of the training facility. Step 5, assembly of poles and connectors. All right, so now we're at step 5. You've laid out somewhat of your room. You have your 8-footers, you have your 4-footers, you've got basically your layout here. So what Alex and I are going to do now is we're just going to take a couple of these and show you exactly what it is. Remember what I said? That is actually the ceiling. So now what we have to do is flip it over. So just watch for a second. If you look, what we're going to do is this is where you have your 5-ways now. They're standing like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and that is actually going to become the ceiling pole. So Alex, if you would take your 8-footer, I'm going to take this 8-footer from here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to assemble them. And the easiest way to do it is you'll notice on the 5-ways there's a pass-through and then there's a blocked area. The blocked area will give you the exact configuration for an 8-footer. The pass-through one is actually going to be where you can slide the poles further. You can change it whether an 8-foot, 4-foot, or whatever it is. Also, it makes it easier when you're trying to put something in and you're coming from another angle. So let's just start by putting it into the blocked area, and I'll show you. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm just going to snug it up in that position. And Alex is doing the same thing on his. He's going to put it in, and he's going to snug up that piece of it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to work together, and we'll put this across, and one will hold, the other one will put it in. That's one way of doing it. I've done this where I've actually worked by myself, and I would do is just install the next rod through, and then just lean it on the ground. So I would put one in here, lean it on the ground. Then I'd put the next one in, and then I would pick it up. So there's ways of doing it when you don't have anybody to help you. It's always easier when you have 2, 3, 4 people. More people, the quicker it's going to go up. All right, but the bottom line is now this is going to start to become that section of the wall. So Alex, if you would, for just a second, just put that one down. Grab that one there. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to insert this pole into his, right? So turn that the other way, put that in there. All right, so we're in here, and then we would snug it up. Go ahead. All right, and then we would stand this up from here, and we would start to build. We would start to build from there. Then we would take the next connector and go in, and that's how you would create your 8-foot space. Step 5, assembly continued. Okay, so continuing with the assembly, you notice that Alex and I put together basically the U shape of the 8-foot room. We turned it over, we put the 5-ways on top, we put in the 8-foot poles. Now we're down to our last piece of the 8-foot. What I wanted to show you here is that you have a blocked end, as I told you, inside the 5-way, and then you have a pass-through end on the 5-way. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take my 8-footer, and on my pass-through side, I'm just going to tip it down a little bit so I can get to it, and I'm going to insert it in. Give room to Alex to insert it into his, because this pass-through, I can actually have some playroom here, so it goes all the way through. You got yours there? All right, good. That goes to there. He's got his. I pull it out so that it's only halfway in here, and then we both just snug it up till it just catches, and that's it. All right? So now you have the outline, basically, of your first 8-foot section or your room. Now, again, remember, you can expand this. I could have taken another 4-foot pole and made this a 16-foot room. I could have made it 12-foot room, whatever. I'm just showing you the basic configuration of a room, right? So this is what your first steps are. Now, as you start to build off of this, Alex, can I have that 4-foot pole there? So as you start to build off of this, you're going to do is you want your 4-foot hallway. So now what you do is you insert that into here. Now you put your next leg down and you start to build your rooms and your hallways off of your first 8x8. Step 6, hanging the walls. All right, guys, so now you've pretty much set up some of your rooms. You don't have to have them all up, but let's say you set up, most of your configuration that you want to start with. So how do you actually hang the walls? What I normally do, you'll see that there are bungees in there, and what we've done first is we've taken the bungees, we put them on our wrist, and you just put them over from here because they're just easy access. So you grab it now, and then you can put the bungee into the tarp itself. So let me just show you really fast. Number one, if I was doing a wall by myself, what I automatically do is I locate, there's a logo at the top of each one of these walls. What I do is I go to either side of that, and I put one of my bungees into the island, right? So here's the logo. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the bungee through until it hits the plastic on either side of that. So obviously if I had Alex here to help me, then it would be great. But if I didn't have him, then I would just do it myself. And I'm going to go to the opposite side of the connector. So you have, these are the two eyelets on either side. And all you have to do is find that logo in the middle, find an eyelet, go over the top, put it underneath, catch the other bungee. Now grab another one and go to the center. So the easiest way to do it is you find your center first, go to either side of that, find your spot, hang your bungee on it. Now Alex, grab that, go ahead and put your Velcro around the pole. So all this does now, we stretch it out, we wrap it, connect all the Velcro, and then you just start putting the bungees in from wherever the eyelets are. Now you just secure it a little bit better. Underneath and over, and then he would finish off his side as he's putting the bungees in. He's going to hang it from either side, it'll tighten it up. If you feel like you have too much wave in this, you just loosen up the connectors on both sides of the 5-ways and stretch the tarp out and tighten it, snug it down again. Alright, so that's the first thing when it comes to hanging your section from here. Alright, so notice we have a little buckle here. All I have to do is loosen this up, pull this out, pull Alex, pull from here. Right from there, and it takes it out. Then I snug that back up again, and we're good to go. Step 7. Connecting walls, hanging doors. All right, guys, so the next thing we're going to do here, I just wanted to show you, we've already hung the one wall here. This one here is what we call a door window package. So the door window, you'll see it has some, Velcro on the middle and stuff, and there's a very good reason for that. That's actually so you can, either make a window or a door, and you can go all the way to the ground. I'll show you the Velcro, but let's go ahead and hang the second one, show you how it connects to the other wall, and then I'll show you the versatility in the actual panel itself. All right, so Alex, go ahead and put that first bungee. Once again, when you're doing this, if you face the logo to the outside of the room, that's usually going to work out the best for you. So go ahead, put a bungee in there. So he found the logo, he puts it in the opposite side from here, he hangs it on one side or the other of the center connector from here. Once he does that, go ahead and put the second one in on the other side of the connector. All right, he wraps that. Now, if you're working with a two-man team, it's great, right? So what we're just going to do now is just going to stretch the tarp out a little bit, and you'll notice that there's an overlap so that it keeps the room sealed. And all I'm going to do is overlap and let this connect and close off the room all the way across, right? So that seals the room, make sure that there's no gaps so that when you're shooting, nothing comes out, right? So you're sealing it, then all we would do is continue around and put the bungees on each one of the eyelets on the top. All right, so that's how they connect. If you ever have a difficult time with the connection on the Velcro, let's say you go to wrap it and it doesn't match, all you have to do is take the Velcro off, this piece of it, just take the wall, disconnect it, then wrap this piece in the opposite direction. So you would disconnect that and go the other way and wrap it. And then the Velcro will match. So this particular one, it matches perfectly like this, so all you do is go back and connect it, and connect it, and it matches. But if it didn't match, all I would have to do is just go back around the pole the other way. All right? So that's how the walls actually connect. That's how you hang the panels. And what we'll do now is we'll talk a little bit about in the next segment what the versatility on the door window package is. Step 8, understanding the window door package options. All right, guys, so now you've actually put on several of your panels, your walls. I want to show you a little bit about the versatility of your window door packages. Now, you notice these are 2 solid walls right now. So picture if you had put up your shoot house or put up whatever you were training on, particular, maybe long hallway or whatever it is, you wanted an entry point. This is how easy it is. On your window door packages, what you see, there's cuts in here for to hang doors, because you can actually make a swinging door, which I'll show you later on. But you're looking at it from here. I can actually open this up just by pulling this down, and I can just leave it hanging if I would like. If I want to, I can just leave it here. If I want to go all the way to the floor, then I have an actual door entryway. And then I can, in 2 seconds, I just created, from a solid wall, I created the door entrance. If I want to, I can also, let's say that we want to make a window, but I want to take the panel. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this panel. And then we also provide to you a clear plastic so that you can actually, go ahead Alex, just come on this side here, all right, and we can hang this. So now if you wanted protection, let's say that you were running drills but you wanted them not to be able to shoot out of the window, or maybe you had somebody viewing and they want them on the other side, or you just want to seal it up, it's fine. So now you also have the option. So you can leave an open window, or you can put a closed window onto your panels. Now, that's the window part of this. So let's say that I don't want to do the window anymore. Let's say I want to do a doorway. All I do is go all the way to the ground. Now I have a doorway. These can flip over. I can actually put poles in here. I would take my 90-degree pole, the one that floats. I undo one of the bungees. I can undo the center, slide that over, and I can put a pole straight down in this section that this Velcro wraps around. Or I can just leave it free floating as a doorway and just seal it up and then go from here. We run it, we do it 15, 20 times. The teams go through, your officers go through, whatever way you wanted to run it. And then I say, okay, I'm going to change it on them again. Bang, I put the door back on there. I put the window back on there. I seal it up again. I can change the configuration in 30 seconds, and it gives you that versatility on your door window panels. Cover and target holders. So what we're going to talk about next is that we showed you a little bit about how to configure the rooms, how to put the poles together, how to add the tarps onto the walls, showed you a little bit about the components. But I wanted to show you another facet of this, and you can use the exact same components to build maybe pieces of cover that you want to put inside the shoot house, or maybe you want to do cover-to-cover drills and you're doing bounding stuff. So you can actually put them together. And you're using things like, 290s and a 2-footer along with a 4-footer. The difference here is that you'll notice at the bottoms we put the 5-ways. Instead of having those for the roof, we put those to stabilize the platform so that I can actually move this wherever I want to put it. And I can make it 2-footer, or I can put a 4-footer from here. If I want to, instead of using these as a barricade, what I'll do is I'll just stick target holders in, and then I can move these and have low targets. Now granted, your targets can be Velcro to all the walls, but if you wanted something a little bit more freestanding, something middle of the room, at least you have the base to be able to do that. In addition to that, all you have to do is a 4-footer with the 5-way on the bottom, then a connector and a 2-footer with a 90 on the top, and then this is basically the tarp from your window door package. And you just drape that over, Velcro it to the sides, and now you have at least a full standing piece of cover that somebody can work around and stand up. So you can have some that's kneeling, you have to kneel down or squat down behind, or you can actually put full pieces of cover, and you can make them as short or as tall as you want. So it gives you some versatility to either put targets up or to build cover pieces. You put the 5-ways on the bottom, there's the pass-through. You can either put a 2-foot pole or a 4-foot pole through the bottom in order to create some stability if you need it, or just go ahead and put the 5-ways on the bottom and or the T's, and you're good to go. All right, so it gives you some versatility in the use of your cover. Door and pole assembly for the door. All right, guys, so what I wanted to show you next is that you can actually get yourself an assembly for a swinging door utilizing the existing poles that are in the bag. So you'll see that's in there, and I had showed you previously that there are hinges inside the bag. And the hinges are just like the regular couplings, but you'll see that they have a male or a female hook on them as they go on here. And so to assemble the door, what we'll do is we'll give you a shot of that and show you how you can actually put them together. But you'll see I did it without the frame or without the tarp over it. Now whatever the tarp that you pull out of the center of that door when you open up the middle panels of the wall, that's what goes over this frame here. All right? And if you notice, you can actually take this on and off based on, you know, the hook, the male and the female from here. So the male or the female would actually hook over the door. So picture that door if I had put the poles in this position in the center of your tarps. And the cuts that are in the center tarps is where your hinges match up to. So you would put your pole stabilizing it straight down, pole stabilizing on the other side, and then your hinges would go through the cut and would wrap around the pole. And I'll show you a little bit more detail in the next segment. Pole and connector assembly for the door panel. Okay, so the assembly of the door. What you're going to have is a 90-degree at the top, have the pass-through going in that direction, then a 2-footer and another 90 will create your top. Then you're going to have 4-foot pole, 4-foot pole. Before you put your connectors on either side, be sure to put on your hinge, which just slides over the pole, comes up about midway. Just snug it down to get it out of the way for now until you have to adjust it. Then come further down to your connector, connect a 2-foot pole on both sides. Connect the 2-foot pole on both sides. Then after you connect the 2-foot pole, you're going to have a 90 at the bottom, 2-footer and a 90 at the bottom. Don't forget to put your other hinge on before you put the 90 on the bottom. So that's going to go onto the pole. Once you put it all together, you can snug it down, and then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to match your hinges with the cuts in the door panel and then on the pole with the male side. But this is going to put together your frame and your hinges so that you can create your door. So building your door frame, this is one that's already together. So now you'll see you have a 90 at the top, you'll have a 2-foot pole with another 90, a 4-foot pole that comes down, and then what you have is a hinge here, which could be male or female depending on which way you want to put it on. We put another 90 with a stabilizer through the middle just to stabilize the door a little bit more, and then you put your 2-foot pole going down with your hinges and connector, hinge at the bottom, 90-degree going across with a 2-foot. And then this is just a connector for your 4 and your 2-foot pole. And that gives you your frame, which provides you with the hinge and the door movement, and it's all ready to go to put your door package tarp over it. So you can always work it from here, shows you your hinges and how the door will swing. So the frame is all built and ready to go, so that you can put, next is going to go into the frame of the door, and then you put your tarp over it to close it and seal it.